Welcome to round 4 of the Superside FIM Sidecar World Championship. And this weekend we go to the east of Germany and the road circuit at Schleiz. Well, round 4 here at Schleiz, but round 3 was on the west side of Germany at the Nürburgring circuit, and it proved to be a race full of incident and drama. With Steve Webster out of the event, the battle was really on between 77 Tim Reeves and 22 local boy Steinhausen. Pivarinter was 4th until he spun. Rod Stedman fell from the chair of Brian Pedder's outfit. Close action all the way through the field, until Bill Phillips spun out of 5th position near the end, and then right at the final corner there was contact between the two main protagonists, but it was Steinhausen that held on for a popular win in front of his home crowd, but it wasn't popular with Tim Reeves. But Reeves held on to the top of the championship lead ahead of Steinhausen, who closed the gap by 5 points. The non-appearing Steve Webster dropping down to 4th. Well, the road circuit here at Schleiz, one of the oldest natural courses in Germany, 2.36 miles around, 1 minute 30-second laps from Webster last year. And we go on board now with Richard Gatt and the modern wonders of technology, passenger by Adolf Hanni. Well, up this far straight, this shot really doesn't show the gradient up into this first left-handed corner. Anti-clockwise course, of course, so many left-handed corners on this track. Another left-hander that takes the riders up over the hill and down the other side towards the town of Schleiz. This is a very fast run down through this sweeping section, flat out all the way down to the bottom of the hill, up into 6th gear, just feathering slightly through that complex, and then hard on the brakes down to 2nd gear for this tight left-hand corner. Short squirt up the straight to the first of the chicanes. 1st gear through here, very difficult to get the power on. Coming out, very bumpy through here as well. And now off this part of the circuit, we rejoin the main road from the town of Schleiz to the next town of Plauen. And again, very fast, 155 miles an hour through the trees, not like a normal circuit full of Armco and barriers. So you've got to be a little bit cautious. And then we come into this new chicane area and the link road for a new circuit that they built last year. Once again, up over the brow of the hill, flat out down into this final chicane. A tight right-hand, left-hand complex before we come back on to the start and finish to complete another lap, courtesy of Richard Gatt. Well, once again, qualifying took place in glorious conditions. The weather really couldn't have been kinder to us here in Schleiz. Everybody out to try and get a decent time in the short qualifying session. Of course, Schleiz saw a return to the 3-race format, the match race, sprint race and main race during the weekend. So qualifying all important. There's the pit crew of Jos Moser. Jörg Steinhausen in the pits, just putting a new rear tyre on to go for that fast lap. But there was drama in qualifying, the red flags were out. Tim Reeves returned back to the paddock, not sure what was going on. But the problem was caused by stones being dragged out onto the circuit. Some new curbs have been laid and the stones lining the circuit were being dragged onto the track and flicked up at the riders. Passengers and drivers were taking the brunt of it. Rob Biggs, with suspected broken big toe, off to the medical centre. I asked Andy Laidlow what was going on.
There's big stones, gravel right on all the left-hand corners, and they're just getting dragged out onto the circuit, and it's like a kamikaze run. There's a lad up there just broke his toe because the stones hit underneath. I've hit my toe twice, and the bikes are getting shattered to bits. Somebody's just got a stone right through the radiator.
Well, the session was restarted and it was Tim and Tristan Reeves going for pole position. But it was that man, number 22, that took the pole position right at the end of the session. And that was the first time that somebody other than Steve Webster's been on pole position for the first time in about 3 years. Well, one person not having a happy qualifying down in 6th position was Adolf Haney, passenger to Mike Rocha. Adolf Haney, another home race here in Schleiz, but you've not had a very good qualification.
Yes, I have a big problem yesterday, and the time is not perfect, and look for a faster lap, and it's too fast in the corner, and have a wheel spin, and fly.
Is there much injury to yourself?
Yeah, the rib is broken and all a little blue, and the big problem this morning is the left hand. It's the big point for me, and maybe look, have 1 hour time, test and look.
So Adolf, you will make the warm-up lap for the race and then you will decide if you can continue, yeah?
Yeah, I think this is my plan. Look in the warm-up lap. This morning the warm-up I not go, and is pills and look what is. Hope so.
Well, after qualifying, the riders are split into 4 heats, depending on their qualifying positions, to race for the match races. Beavers, Clues, Norbury, Fuchel and Morrissey in the first heat. Billy Galross, Gary Knight, Stuart Muldoon, Andy Laidlow and Richard Gatt in heat 2. Heat 3, Doppler, Van Gils, Pedder, Rocha and Peverinter. And just the top 4 in heat 4, Moser, Mannanen, Reeves and Steinhausen. Well, it was on to heat 1 of the match races, just a quick fire 3 laps around this Schleiz circuit. And these are the guys that qualified 15th to 19th positions. And the winner of this heat would automatically find his way into the next round, the semi-finals. And it was Thomas Fuchel and Yuri Perchilek from the Czech Republic that got the jump on Steve Norbury and stand-in passenger Mark Cox. But the 50-year-old Fuchel really going well round here at Schleiz, enjoys this road circuit, had a big crash last year but has come back to enjoy it this year, and he took the win in the match race heat 1 to book his place in the first of the semi-finals. So Fuchel there, the winning time not important for him, it's the fact that he won that puts him into that semi-final. Heat 2 of the match races, Richard Gatt and Andy Laidlow both had bad qualifying sessions, find themselves further down the order than they would like. But of course, the winner of this heat progresses into the semi-final, and obviously that gives them then a chance into the final of the top 6, where the maximum points can be gained. So the battle was on between Laidlow and Gatt a lot quicker than the other guys in this heat, because they'd had the problems in qualifying, found themselves further down the order, as I said, and it was Richard Gatt shadowing Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance, of course, lying 3rd position in the championship. And right at the last corner, Gatt squeezed his way past Andy Laidlow and across the line to win heat 2. So Richard Gatt highlighted there as the winner of heat 2. Joins Thomas Fuchel and Yuri Perchilek in that first of the semi-finals. Match race heat 3, Pekka Piverinta, and there the injured Adolf Haney on the 55 machine of Mike Rocha. Could he cope through this match race heat? Well, it was Piverinta that stormed away at the front, Brian Pedder, Martin and Tony Van Gils, Rocha and Sepp Doppler giving chase. But nobody was going to catch Piverinta in this quick 3-lap dash. So Piverinta would go forward into the second of the semi-finals. The winner from heat 4 would join him, and the rest would have to see how their race times stacked up as to whether they went any further in the competition. So heat 4, top 4 in qualifying. Jörg Steinhausen, number 77, Tim and Tristan Reeves there. Steinhausen was the winner, Reeves second, fastest of the 4 heats. So Steinhausen as the winner goes to the second semi-final. Then the rest of the places are made up on the total race times from the 4 heats. Tim and Tristan Reeves, the next fastest. Tero Mannanen joining that second semi-final. Andy Laidlow, a quick time from heat 2. And Brian Pedder, another quick time from heat 3. They're in the second semi-final. Martin and Tony Van Gils join Fuchel and Gatt as does Moser from Heat 1, Sepp Doppler, and the final position, Gary and Dan Knight, just scraping into that top 12. Well, after the hectic action of the match race heats, teams had a chance to relax with some public charity taxi rides. This is the opportunity for members of the public to experience sidecar racing firsthand. Of course, they can't drive the machines, but they can be taken around in the sidecar and find out what the real G-forces are like on one of these Formula One sidecars. Very popular with the public. I think about 100 people went out on these taxi rides. Very busy for the riders. Andy Laidlow, Patrick Farrance there, just taking one lucky young lady around. And it doesn't matter, anybody can have a go, all shapes and sizes. Andy Laidlow, just some final instructions before taking another young lady around. What is it with Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance and these young ladies on their sidecars? Well, it looks like she thoroughly enjoyed that one. An experience never to be forgotten. As Michael Hildebrand just giving some instructions to a would-be taxi rider. Well, I caught up with this young lady to find out what she thought of it.
No.
Nadine, what was that like?
Crazy. Crazy. Very good. Very fast, and you have to be so strong. Crazy, but very good.
Well, after the fun of the taxi rides, the teams were getting ready for the match race semi-finals. Well, it was onto the grid for the first of the match race semi-finals. Richard Gatt, number 8, number 2, Martin and Tony Van Gils. Gatt and Thomas Fuchel were the winners from Heat 1 and 2. The rest went into the race, a bit of argy-bargy into that first corner. The rest made it into the race based on their finishing times from all 4 of those heats. So this was the next stage of the match races. The winner from this semi-final automatically goes through to the final. The winner from semi-final 2 goes through to the final, and then there are 4 other places up for grabs from the fastest finishers. So Richard Gatt and Paul Randall, winners of that first semi-final, automatically booking their place into the final. They'd be joined by the winner of this second semi-final. Who would it be? 22 Steinhausen, 77 Reeves, the arch rivals. And it was Reeves that got off to a good start. Steinhausen slightly bogging down off the line. Pekka Pivarinta in front of him. There's Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen. Reeves' teammate Brian Pedder and Rod Stedman at the back of that group, but it was Reeves in no mood to hang around. He knew that he had to win this to make sure of his place in that final. Just the top 6 bikes in the final, of course. So Tim and Tristan Reeves, winners of semi-final 2, automatically going through to the final. Then the next fastest 4 were Steinhausen, Pivarinta, Manninen and Andy Laidlow.
Well, after all the excitement and the mathematics of the qualifying sessions, we're now on to the big race, the final, as they come down onto the front row of the grid. Ian has finished working out all his calculations, has joined us back in the commentary position. There's an Englishman, Mr. Gatt, I believe. Oh, and he's got a fly on the onboard camera. Well, that's very nice. We've not even started the race.
Yeah, and that was Tim and Tristan Reeves arriving late on the grid, and they've actually turned up on Billy Galross's bike.
Doesn't seem that Jörg Steinhausen seems to be overly bothered about that, but I'm sure the FIM just may have something to say about it.
Yeah, nice to see them shaking hands there and wishing each other luck after the excitement of the Nürburgring. What's happening? No, I think Reeves has been told he's not allowed to start this race.
Oh dear, well, he won't be happy about that, that's for sure. So a clear possibility for Jörg Steinhausen to score some extra points. So here it is then, match race final underway. Steinhausen there at the front. That's Richard Gatt there with Paul Randall in the chair. We're on race cam with Pivarinta, and he's gone. He's already in trouble. Holy smoke. Well, that was quick, mate. What's going on there?
Well, Pavarinta got a good start, didn't he? He was into the corner, and and that's Andy Laidlow just taking a big lunge at him and punting the pair of them straight off the circuit.
M25 bumper-to-bumper stuff.
Oh, very bad. Laidlow just leaving his braking too late there, and poor Pavarinta, nothing he could do about that.
What braking? I don't think he touched them.
I don't think he did either. Well, look at this. Mannanen leading from Steinhausen at the end of lap 1. Remember, this is just 3 short laps. And the winner of this takes the 25 points for the World Championship. And at the moment, it's Tero Mannanen and Pekka Koisman and the Finns who are heading Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Steinhausen will have something to say about that. As you say, 3-lap dash race, but I'm sure you'll will be waiting just at the last moment to make his dash. We're on board again with Richard Gatt and Paul Randall with that lovely fly that's embedded itself on our onboard lens. Here they come, and they've caught up with those two, so we might have a 3-way scrap here for the checkered flag.
Yeah, 3 laps, very short distance, and keeping everybody close together. Richard Gatt, bad qualifying, found himself down in about 11th or 12th place, but he's made it through the match race heats and semi-finals and into the final, and currently sitting in a podium position.
Oh, wait and see. Steinhausen's having a little look. I got a thinking that the positions might change very soon.
Well, Mannanen, of course, qualified 3rd in the after the qualifying session, so he's no slouch around here. And Pavarinta's back in the race, so he'll pick up 4th position, the points for 4th position. Now, a bit complicated with these match races because although Tim and Tristan Reeves haven't started the race, because they qualified, they'll still be classified in 6th, so that's good news for them in what was a bad situation. But there's Pavarinta soldiering on.
Here we go. I think this could be the final lap, and or is it?
Yeah, this will be into the last lap now, and it's still Mannanen holding off Steinhausen, doing a great job around here. Steinhausen seemingly not got an answer for him at the moment. They just dropped Richard Gatt and Paul Randall in that lap. Steinhausen, look up the inside, won't do it there.
He's decided he wants to make his move, and let's hope it's going to be a safe one. And there he goes up on the brakes.
Oh, cool. Oh, and that really caught Mannanen out, didn't it? He was just about to turn in.
Yeah.
Locked up the front wheel when he saw Steinhausen alongside him. Lucky to keep it all together. But Steinhausen sliding that LCR Suzuki out of that corner, flat out.
Well, I was seeing things. Was the passenger just beating the driver there for a moment?
Yeah, these two Finns do have great communication on the bike.
Oh, you go faster.
If you've ever seen them in pit lane, you'll know what I'm talking about. But now Steinhausen clear in the lead. That little passing manoeuvre cost Mannanen some time. Richard Gatt, Paul Randall just dropped back, but they're safe in 3rd position. So they're looking at a rostrum finish. And that's the beauty of these match races. You can come from way out of nowhere and still get on the rostrum.
So here comes Jörg Steinhausen on his way to take the checkered flag in this final match race of this day, and hopefully he'll have the same success in the main races. Steinhausen wins from Mannanen, then Gatt and Randall, Pavarinta, Laidlow and Reeves, despite not being in the race, still placed 6th. Pleda and then Knight, Doppler and Van Gils down there in 10th. Oh, that is it. Crowd very pleased, obviously, with the results. Jörg Steinhausen with the German national anthem playing. Trevor Hopkinson beside him. There is Richard Gatt, Paul Randall, and of course that is Mannanen on the other side.
Jörg Steinhausen, first 25 points of the weekend here at Schleiz. That looked like a hard race.
Yeah, it was good riding from the finish let's, and I'm pleased that we catched him entry of the last lap. So yeah, I'm pleased with the 25 points, of course. Yeah.
Well, that 25 points and the win for Steinhausen moves him to within 9 points of Tim and Tristan Reeves, only scoring 10 points in that race. Laidlow and Farrens holding on to 3rd position despite their non-finish there.
So back on the start line for the sprint race, and that is Tim Reeves, and he's now got the outfit sorted out. That's got Steinhausen on the other side of him. A little bit of fun here. That's, of course, 88. Tero Mannanen, the European champion, finishing 2nd. Now look at this. This is what happens when you lose a bet. Andy Laidlow's, that's his brolly boy.
Andy, bit of excitement at that first corner in the match race. Whose fault was that?
It was absolutely my fault, yeah. I was quite desperate to get through because there's only 3-lap dash, and I knew I had to get a tow from Steinhausen to get anywhere close, and my mistake. I hold my hands up to that. Yeah, that was a stupid move on my behalf, but that's racing.
I think she's admiring his brolly boy's legs there, you know. Here we go then.
Somebody has to.
Oh, no, yeah, he lost the bet and we still don't know what it was all about. They won't tell us. Sprint race, 11 laps. Reevesy in the middle. Mannanen on the right-hand side and Steinhausen on the left-hand side.
And who's it going to get away first into that first corner? Well, Tim and Tristan Reeves really fired up after being told to get off the grid in the match race final. That was because they hadn't qualified on the machine of Billy Galros that they were trying to get out on. So quite rightly in the FIM rules, they weren't allowed to start. But Reeves was happier when he found out he still picked up 10 points for 6th position. So good on him, but fired up for this one. I'm sure he's going to want to outdo Steinhausen again.
Apparently he had some kind of electrical fault, but I was quite surprised he didn't just change the fairing. Would have got away with that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, quite possibly, but I suppose in the rush and the heat of trying to get everything done, he had to get out on the grid, and well, that's racing.
Yeah, our onboard camera attached to it as well, so we lost that, so not to worry.
But now look at Tim and Tristan Reeves already streaking away, and Mannanen just clipping one of those cones on the inside, sending that flying. This is where a lot of the problems have been at Schleiz this weekend. The sidecar's just picking up the stones from the newly laid edge of track there and bringing them onto the circuit. But yeah, Mannanen in a tussle there with fellow Finn Pivarinter. Looked like Stuart Muldoon in 5th position. That's Richard Gatt down in about 10th place at the moment, but Tim and Tristan Reeves out front.
Well, despite those problems of missing that race, they decided to stamp their authority on this one, but there's a great scrap going on for that 3rd place. Tero Mannanen has it at the moment. They're on board once again. Get a good look. You can see some of those cones that have been put there. That's to prevent them clipping the edges there and bringing the stones, you say, in onto the track. We had a lot of problems here on the Saturday with that.
Yeah, didn't stop Mannanen in the first lap there, did it?
No, he decided to demolish the cones that were put there to stop them from bringing the stones on the track. So maybe he's got some sort of secret plan. Number
66 there, Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton, their wildcard entries for this race. Muldoon, of course, winner of the Czech Grand Prix in 1998. He's been out of World Championship action for a couple of years, making a return now and, well, hanging on there in 5th place at the moment, going well.
Yeah, it's nice to see Muldoon back racing with us. Of course, one notable absentee this weekend is Steve Webster. And the news on Steve is that he might make a return at Assen. We don't know.
Yeah, we hope he does get back into the series, but at the moment it's really about these two young chargers, isn't it? Tim and Tristan Reeves and Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson. Both of them now see an opportunity to take their first ever World Championship. And we saw what happened in Nürburgring last time out. And, well, would you put a bet on it not happening again?
Well, I reckon there's going to be a few FIM's eyes watching these two to see that we don't see any sort of recourse of that incident, as you talk about, because there was a lot of accusations thrown around, but at the end of the day, it was what it was, and let's hope that we see no more of it here at Schleiz. So that looks like Brian Pedder in front of Richard Gatt.
Yeah, Gatley down in about 8th position at the moment, so Pedder in front of him, and got a slow start. Richard did qualify down in 11th, 12th position, so he's making up ground now. But Pedder's not going to be an easy guy to get past. No. Just look how close coming into this chicane section. Flames shooting out of that Team Roberts machine of Pedder and Steadman. Very bumpy part of the track now, accelerating flat out, 5th, 6th gear. 150 miles an hour through this left-hand corner before hard on the brakes. This is that corner we've just seen Reeves go through, flat out 150 miles an hour, and then it's really late on the brakes and you're turning right at the same time and trying to get it stopped down to about 30 miles an hour for this left-hand hairpin.
And Richard once again managing to find a fly on our camera lens. I think we're going to have to entrust his passenger with a little wiping cloth, you know, just to keep the lens clean for us.
Well, Steinhausen not letting Reeves get away in this one, is he? He's really pressuring. He's taken the first 25 points, closed the gap in the championship to just 9 points, and he'll want to close that even more by beating Reeves in this one. He thinks he can do it.
So the battle is very much still on, and as you say, can they do it? Well, here they come, and they've gone for it. Well, what's going on with Reevesy there? He seemed to have backed off a little bit. Maybe missed a gear or something, but Steinhausen shot past him as if Reevesy was pulling up.
Yeah, definitely looked like perhaps a missed gear, or maybe Tim didn't want to lead this race all the way. But it's only a short 11-lap affair, so I can't see Tim giving up the lead that easily.
Well, the heat here this weekend, it is a very warm day, but I don't think it's as hot as it was at the last run. Here comes Gatt, having a look upside Pedder, and he made it through, or did he make it through? There is Steinhausen with Tim Reeves beginning to close back on him. So the current positions are, of course, York Steinhausen leading, Tim Reeves in second place. Looks like Mannanen there in third, although we haven't seen much of him, have we, so far?
No, still holding off his fellow Finnish rivals, Pekka Pivarinta, for third and fourth there. But it's about these two at the front, isn't it? And there is Mannanen on cue with Pekka Pivarinta right in his wheel tracks. Stuart Muldoon still holding fifth position. Martin and Tony Van Gils ahead of Richard Gatt. And he did make that pass on Brian Pedder. And there's Jos Moser. Jos Moser, the Austrian driver, qualified in fourth position, but, well, not having a great race at the moment, is he?
No, he obviously didn't get off the line too well. Here comes, Reevesy had it up the inside. He made this one. Move over, please. I'm coming through. That was polite.
Yeah, well, they didn't touch.
No. Fortunately.
You couldn't get much more of a cigarette paper through there, though, could you? That was a good move from Tim. Just kept the power on through that right-hander and got himself tight up that inside line into the left. Gave Steinhausen nowhere to go. So a good, clean move from Tim Reeves.
I think Steiny, he intended to turn in, but just saw Reeves at the last moment and decided not to, which was just as well. On the final lap, and the Finns are still battling.
Yeah, now Pivarinta's in front, and that was our onboard camera that was looking forward. So
it's gone everywhere now.
Well, that was an interesting shot of how the passenger uses his feet to brace himself, but not what we intended.
No. I believe that's your fault. You didn't tighten it up. Oh!
Richard Gatt and Paul Randall out of the race after coming up through the field. What a shame. But this is the last lap.
Ooh,
Tim Reeves defending that inside line into this chicane.
I've got my fingers crossed.
Well, I think Steiny's just a little bit too far back now to do anything. He's still trying, isn't he? Getting the power on, bouncing Trevor Hopkinson over those curbs. But Reeves, he's celebrating early.
Yeah, he knows he's got it. But, yeah, they shake each other's hand. And Steinhausen comes through. Well, the crowd are, I think, reasonably happy. Reeves and Reeves then awarded the win. Steinhausen, Hopkinson, Pavarinton, Wall, and Mannanen. Well, Pavarinton taking the result, what you call the Scandinavian battle. Muldoon there in fifth. Pedder, Van Gils, Moser, then Galeros and Doppler round out the top 10.
Well, it's not a German victory this time, but this knowledgeable East German crowd happy to see another great race.
So on the podium, Reeves on top, Steinhausen second, Pavarinta in third. There is Tim and Tristan Reeves, the winners of that race. Top three, happy with that result for sure.
Tim, Tristan, hard race, but another great win for you.
Yeah, good race really. It was nice to get off in front, and I saw Jorg was pushing, and so I thought it'd be safer if I let him go in front. So I didn't know, I didn't want him dive bombing me again like I did before. So I just followed him and waited so I could see his rear tyre was shot, and then just let him have it. So yeah, spot on.
Well, spot on indeed. Another 25 points and total of 3 wins for Tim Reeves, extending his championship lead to 14 points over Steinhausen. Tero Mannanen now jumping up the order and takes over third position.
Well, positions, that's a good one, on top of your own house. He's even got his beer there, but he didn't pay to come in. Oh. Anyway, we're on to the final race. Jorg Steinhausen finishing second in the previous one. He'll want to do better here. And, of course, Tim and Tristan Reeves moving over our Dolly Brolly girl. Ian's gone down onto the grid with his microphone to talk to a few riders.
Peter, third position in the sprint race. A great result for you and Pekka. Can you repeat it in this one?
Of course we're going to try, but I don't know. We do the best we can, and we see what happens.
Martin Van Gils not having the best of weekends so far, but with the long race, do you think you can make a better result?
Maybe, I'm not for sure.
What is the problem this weekend?
Well, the whole feeling, you know, with the bike is not the bike is okay, but the feeling. I think the guy, same, you know.
Okay, well, it's a long race, so we wish you good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Jorg, one win apiece for you and Mr. Reeves. Now the third and final race of the day and the decider. Can you win?
Yes.
Tim, one win apiece between you and your arch rival that it's turning out to be. Can you win this one?
Oh yeah. You know.
Well, one win apiece, so it's going to be an interesting race as they clear the stones off the circuit. They're under starters' orders. This is the gold race, 22 laps of top-class world sidecar racing. You've got the best of the best on the grid there. Race cam here with Stuart Muldoon. And is Stuart going to get a good start? Well, that is Richard Gatt just in front of him. Oh, he's just been passed by someone.
Looks like that. Oh, and there's an incident there just up ahead of us. Muldoon's had to take evasive action there. Didn't quite see what happened there from the onboard camera. Let's see if we can have a look at that again.
Well, Stuart Muldoon going backwards. Let's have a replay then of that first corner incident. See who did what. There is Reeves leading them away. I'm fairly sure that Steinhausen will be the man behind him in second place. Whoa! Where? Holy smoke! Richard Gatt. I think he wanted a quick stop off of the ambulance there, in.
Yeah, didn't quite see what happened there, but, well, the result is Gatt and Randall in the straw bales, and hopefully no damage done there, but that's them out of this race.
And he wasn't carrying one of our onboard cameras.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, that's lucky for us.
Well, it's all streamed through. Number 99, Dan Morrissey and Rob Biggs. They've had a dismal weekend here at Schleiz. Yeah. And this is on board with Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton. Billy Gowross ahead of us. Billy Gowross and Johnny Briggs, of course. And this is the view back from the outfit of Martin and Tony Van Gils. And there's Gary and Dan Knight following Van Gils.
That's a great shot when we look off the back of the outfit with the passenger moving from side to side. But we're on board with Stuart Muldoon, the Scot, Mr. Iron Brew, as I call him.
Hectic first lap action here, and just getting bounced across this bumpy circuit. Well, Gowross in front of us, Gary and Dan Knight ahead of Gowross, and then we've got Martin and Tony Van Gils up front. So the two onboard cameras sandwiching Billy Gowross there. And this is great action down through this fast sweeper. They've just resurfaced this part of the track, and it used to be really, really bumpy, and now it's only slightly bumpy. But about another 10 miles an hour quicker. Muldoon late on the brakes. Trademark from the Scotsman, deep into that corner, and he's gone past Gowross and moved up a place through this tight chicane now. Little bump in the middle of it. Oh, a bit slow, bit of a mistake there from Muldoon coming out. He just has a quick look over his shoulder, and there's Gowross straight back up the inside again.
It looked like he waved him through.
Well, I'm sure Stuart wouldn't wave Billy Gowross through, that's for sure.
I'm sure Stuart wouldn't wave anybody through, to be perfectly honest, but... No, not a great start for him. We'll see how he gets on, and whether he's got a problem of some kind. There he is, so that's that little battle that's going on, Muldoon and Gowross, and here comes Stuart again on the out.
Very wide. That looked like on the point of no return there, didn't it?
That's what I call deeper and deep and deeper on the brakes.
Well, this hard-driving Scotsman always gives great entertainment value, I know that, but still up front. Tim and Tristan Reeves leading closely from Jorg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson.
This is the battle for the World Championship at the moment. Well, look at Steiny. Oh, he's almost planted his nose cone on the tray of Tristan Reeves there.
I think that's because they both slowed down to a crawl, to be honest.
Going on there, I think they're playing with each other.
They certainly are. Well, that's another Tim Reeves move like we saw in the sprint race. He told us afterwards it wasn't a misgear. He did let Steinhausen go past, and that looked like he did it again.
Muldoon looks to be slowing up here. I think he's out. He is. He's going back to the paddock. Well, tough one for Stuart.
Disappointment for the Scotsman, but a great fifth place in the previous sprint race, of course.
Here comes Steinhausen, still out there in front. Reeves, I think Tim is just playing the waiting game. He's doing the Steve Webster on him, I think. Just sits there, lets him run with it for a while, lets him go, chew his tyres out, and then just goes for it. So the young man, Mr. Reeves, is becoming a little knowledgeable now on how to pace yourself in a race.
Yeah, for sure, and there's the battling Finns still at it. You can't separate those, whatever circuit we go to. Andy Laidlaw and Patrick Farrance there in 6th position. Well, they've not had a great weekend so far, but 6th position, they'll be happy with that at the moment.
Here they come, another lap about to be finished and a new one started. Still, it's Steinhausen, the German, leading from the Brits. Tim and Tristan Reeves, that's Pedder, and who's that behind him?
Well, that looks like Pedder going past
That's
Andy
Laidlaw,
Laidlaw.
yeah.
So, yeah, they're having a bit of a discussion, so it looks like they've got problems. Well, that was commentator's curse. I was just saying how well they were doing.
Maybe it's all that tape on the nose cone from that earlier little incident.
Back on board with Martin and Tony Van Gils, and we've now got Billy Galros and Johnny Briggs attacking us up the inside. Galros has gone through at that first turn. Wow.
No.
Oh,
Ran wide, I think.
ran a bit wide. Van Gils was straight back up the inside, and well, you can just see how one small mistake, you lose 50 yards straight away. Fantastic shots from this onboard through.
Yeah.
Tony Van Gils having to work so hard down through this section. There really is not a lot of rest for the passenger around this Schleiz circuit, 3.8 kilometres around, and real hard work wherever you are. The bumps, you have to hang on so tight.
A lot of people don't realise, and we do, as we've seen earlier, we do have sidecar rides, and a lot of people don't realise how hard it is until they go out and actually have a go, and that's not even in race conditions. That's just a pleasure ride round.
Yeah, your normal taxi ride passenger could probably hang on for 2 laps and no more, and these guys have got to do 22 laps. Here comes Tim Reeves again up the inside.
Oh, yes, indeed. Nice on the brakes.
Tim's obviously decided that now's the time to make the move again, and he doesn't like sitting behind Steinhausen anymore. Mannanen with Pavarinta still in his wheel tracks, going for the inside. Not quite.
Almost grass tracking. So the current positions, it's still Tim and Tristan Reeves out front, Jorg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson, and this is that battle again. Oh, Van Gils. Oh, we can't separate these two, can we?
No,
what's he doing there?
Well, that was a slowing Andy Laidlaw, I think, just getting in the way.
Yeah.
Catching out Billy Galros, a bit of a bump, but they seem to have all got away with that one.
Oh, Steiner's gone through.
Well, once again, Tim's slowing down on that start-finish straight, and well, really playing some games with Jorg Steinhausen, isn't he?
Is this kind of a mind game thing, letting him get out front, thinking he's got the quicker machine, and then just going back past him again? I think Tim has been he's been reading the Steve Webster book of sidecar racing.
Back with Billy Galros following Martin and Tony Van Gils, and is he going to dive up the inside into the final chicane? Looks like he's made it. Yes, he has. Well, let's see if we can see if Martin and Tony Van Gils can come back at him.
So a great scrap on at the moment out front. It's still Steinhausen that leads, and the local commentator giving it all to the crowd.
Yeah, and Tim and Tristan want to be careful, don't want to let Steinhausen get too far ahead, because they're bound to come up against some back markers in this 22-lap race. A bit of dust being kicked up there by Steinhausen, just dropping that sidecar wheel onto the stones.
Oh,
well, that's put an end to that finish battle, isn't it? Pekka Piverinta and Peter Wall retiring from 4th position.
Tim Reeves coming through with his brother Tristan. Is he up the inside of Steinhausen? He is. Well, that's the same place he did it last time.
Yeah, he really likes that corner for overtaking, perhaps practicing for a last lap manoeuvre. We don't know. Don't know what's going on in Tim's mind at the moment. He's played some games with Steinhausen, and now he's hit the front again. Is he going to pull the pin and pull away from the German?
The question is, can he pull the pin? Because I don't think Steinhausen is going to allow that to happen. Maybe we're going to see a last lap, maybe last corner dive here. I sincerely hope it's not going to be like before.
Well, back with that battle again, and Van Gils back past Billy Galros and Johnny Briggs. So great scrap from the Dutchman and the Swedish driver with his English passenger Johnny Briggs. And, well, I don't want to bet on who's going to end up in front at the end of this 22 laps.
Well, let's hope they both stay on the track. That's the main thing. But here comes Reeves and Steinhausen. The yellow flag is out, so that means there'll be no overtaking on this part of the circuit.
Yeah, I think that was where Pavarinta had pulled off the circuit the lap before. So now Mannanen out on his own in 3rd position. and looking good for his second rostrum of the weekend. That's great from this Finn. He hasn't got a lot of money and travels down from Finland to Central Europe each time, and it's great to see him finally getting some success.
Sponsors out there, there's a young man that needs your help.
Talking to young men, there's Dan Knight, passenger to his father, Gary. Dan is the youngest competitor in the Sidecar World Championship, just 17 years of age. And he's just in front of Martin and Tony Van Gils as they go past Jos Moser. That was so close.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were scraping some paint off there.
I think Josh got a bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, dropped back immediately behind Billy Garros. So maybe the Austrian with a problem. That's a shame.
Oh, these two are going to make their mind up exactly who's going to finish where, I think, before this race is over. So, oh, that's the scrap out front. We've still got Steinhausen back there in second, still chasing down the Brit, Tim Reeves. So
yeah, looks like Reeves managing to open up a bit of a gap.
Or is he?
Well, it's concertina in through these turns, isn't it?
And Tristan just taking a look back there at the man behind him in second place. And he has another look, another look again. So
Steinhausen really on the limit coming out of that left-hander. He's got the machine bouncing over the bumps and sideways on opposite lock and just absolutely flat out. Poor old Trevor Hopkinson having to do his job in those conditions is amazing.
I think it's all going to be down to that last corner again. We're on board with Van Gils here.
And they've gone ahead of Gary and Dan Knight, so Martin and Tony Van Gils really coming into their own, and that's Pedder. Pedder's with Mannanen. Brian Pedder has caught Taro Mannanen in third position, and well, nearly caught himself on the grass there as well.
Shortcuts.
That's not a place you want to go off track.
Steiny. Well, he won at the last one. Controversially, they may say, but he still won.
And of course, they've both had a win apiece here this weekend so far. So this is the decider in East Germany, who's going to come out on top. And at the moment, it's Tim and Tristan Reeves that have just got that half a dozen bike lengths advantage over Steinhausen. But it does change. Well, here's Brian Pedder in fourth position, and he's chasing Taro Mannanen. Well, Pedder's never been on the World Championship podium. If he can get ahead of Mannanen, he could make that happen this week. And there's Moser. Well, Moser's still going. I thought he was in trouble. He has dropped back, but he's managing to keep that Honda CBR engined LCR going.
Here they come, and Steinhausen has closed right up onto the back, and there's a back mark. Whoa, he's all out. He's really trying this boy, isn't he?
Looked like Tim actually slowed in the middle of that corner there. I don't know.
Maybe the back marker played a role in that one. I don't know.
Well, let's have a look at it again. Tim goes into the corner. He's got definitely something happens. And, well, Tristan's got his hand up to indicate. Steiny had to take evasive action there. Got it on the curbs. Lucky to keep it on the track. So, well, I don't know. Tristan definitely had his hand up to indicate some sort of problem. If it was a missed gear,
maybe it was an apology. You never know.
Well, that's racing sign language. When you have a problem, the passenger puts the hand up. So, but nearly catching York Steinhausen and putting him on the grass there. But luckily, they both got away with it.
Yep.
Tim and Tristan still lead. York Steinhausen, Trevor Hopkinson now some 10 machine lengths behind as they come in to start this final lap. So if Tim and Tristan Reeves haven't got a problem, they look to have secured this win now, lofting that sidecar wheel through turn one to come up the hill into turn two. Flames coming out the exhaust of that Team Roberts bike. Now it's the fast run down the hill. They've got a back marker. That back marker's Andy Laidlow ahead of them. Steinhausen's closing back in again. This
is going to be, and that's a set of S's to finish the race. So this is going to be interesting. If there's any lunging to go on, it's going to be tough lunging.
And again, there was Steinhausen hit him there, and that was the same corner that Tim had a problem at last time. So, well, I don't know what's going on with Tim and Tristan Reeves. It seems to be in those slow corners. They're not. They were the same coming out of the S's section at the top of the hill. Steinhausen flat out right on his wheel.
Do you think Tim's got a problem, mechanical of some kind?
Well, it's hard to say. There's Brian Pedder and still in fourth position with Mannanen ahead. I think that position's set now. Mannanen looks to have got the brake on Brian Pedder. Here they come
down the hill. This is where the overtaking move's going to take place, if it's going to take place. And then Steiny's in trouble. Oh, my God. Well, that was something we didn't expect. Well, I don't know what that's all about, Ian, but Reeves is taking the win, but Steinhausen sensationally crashing out there and pitching his passenger out of the outfit. Let's have a look at it again.
My breath away there. He came, had a look up the inside. There was nowhere for him to go. And
That's nasty.
Just got the back wheel on the dirty part of the circuit, locked the brakes, and over she went. Well, luckily those straw bales there. And this is Tero Mannanen now promoted to second place with the demise of Steinhausen.
Which means Pedder is going to be in third and on the podium for the first time. 2 Team Roberts bikes on the podium this round. Well, Dave Roberts, who's not here, is going to be happy with that. So Reeves takes the win from Mannanen and Pedder in third. Night and night. Van Gils and Garros there finally finished 5th and 6th. Moser, Doppler, Fuchel and Clues rounding out the top 10. So there they are, Brian Pedder and his passenger Rob Steadman on the podium for the first time. Tero Mannanen steps up onto the number 2 platform. And of course, the winner here will be the 2 Reeves brothers. But thoughts have to go out to Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson, what their conditions are. So there are Tim and Tristan, top step, which is where they wanted to be for sure. National anthem being played again for the United Kingdom. 2 Team Roberts outfits. Dave Roberts, you've got to be happy with that result, mate. Hope you're feeling better.
Brian Pedder, Rod Steadman, first time on the World Championship podium. You're smiling like a dream come true.
Oh, it's more than a dream come true. A really good race, very exciting. Unfortunately, got a little bit of cramp towards the last laps, but we managed to shake it off, and it was a really good effort. I can't fault Rod, top passenger, second year at this level, and brilliant. Can't fault him.
And Rod, you've given us a lot of excitement already this year, and now to get on the podium, you say, second year passengering. Did you ever think that was possible?
No, you saw the places coming down, and we kept picking a few off, and it was just fingers crossed. It was hard work, and I was aching, but there was something saying keep going.
Tero Mannanen and Pekka Koismanen on the rostrum for the second time. Did you have any problems during the race?
I don't have, but Pekka has a little problems.
Pekka, it looked very hard work out there. It was obviously a bit physical for you.
Yeah, normally my physics is good, but my style is unsuitable to this kind of tracks. No troubles in Hungary, no troubles in Nürburgring, but I knew when I came here that this will be a very hard weekend for me.
But you managed to hold it all together and score a great second place. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, Tristan, second win of the weekend, but well, that was an interesting race.
Yeah, it's all right now, isn't it? Got our points back that we lost this morning, so yeah.
You were obviously playing a bit of cat and mouse with Jorg in the early stages.
Yeah, early on we thought we didn't want him following us, so I thought it'd be safer to follow him. And but he tended to run the chair wheel on the grass too much, and I got a big face full of stones, and I thought it was time to get on, and so I got in front and pulled about, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds. But then 3 laps to go, it started to run out of petrol. Every time we turned right, the engine cut out. So we were lucky, really. I mean, if he'd used his, you know, Trish pointed that we had a problem. If he'd used his brain, he could have just out-dragged us to the line. Even it just, you know, it had gone 6. So, but never mind. I don't mind. Win's a win.
Well, a win's also 25 points, and that now makes Tim and Tristan Reeves 39 points clear at the top of the championship, ahead of Jorg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson. Mannanen in 3rd position, Van Gils moves up to 4th. While no serious injuries reported for Jorg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson, the next round is at the ultra-fast Salzburg Ring in Austria. We'll see you there.